Hello students, now in this video let us see the coefficient of variation. In previous video we have discussed the variance and the standard deviation. Coefficient of variation. Now it depends on the arithmetic mean and the standard deviation. So the definition is a very simple thing, it is a percentage. Coefficient of variation is defined as the percentage ratio of standard deviation and the arithmetic mean. Standard deviation to the arithmetic mean of distribution. Arithmetic mean of distribution. Therefore, coefficient of variation is equal to standard deviation upon now modulus of arithmetic mean. Standard deviation is a positive square root, so there is no need of a mod function. So here we take a modulus of this and multiply by 100. The percentage ratio of the standard deviation to the arithmetic mean of distribution. Now it is denoted by CV. C dot V means what? The coefficient of variation. Now standard deviation has a notation sigma, arithmetic mean has a notation x bar, or the mod of x bar multiplied by 100. In symbolical form we can write it as such. Now coefficient of variation, where does it used? The coefficient of variation is used for comparison of variability of two or more data sets. For comparison of variability of two or more sets. The set having more CV or more coefficient of variation is said to be more variable or in turn less consistent, or can be said that it is less consistent. More variable or less consistent. And if the set having less CV, then obviously it is less variable and more consistent. Now let us see some examples on this. Now the first example, sometime the data is directly given to us, that are what? Summation x square, means the sum of square of observations. Now if n is equal to 20, summation x is what? 45, summation x square is 118. Now the question is that find standard deviation and coefficient of variation. Now solution for this, as what is given to us, n is equal to 20. The given things decided that which formula we are using. Summation x is what? 45. Summation x square is what? 118. Now the important thing that to determine CV, what we have to find? We have to find first sigma, and the second thing is what? Coefficient of variation, that is CV. Now to find coefficient of variation, first of all we need to find sigma, that is standard deviation, and also the mean. Then we can determine the coefficient of variation. Now to determine sigma also we need to find mean. Now mean can be obtained using this summation x upon n. As for individual series distribution, the result for arithmetic mean is what? Summation x upon what? N. So it is what? 45 upon 20. So 45 divided by 20 is what? 2.25. So mean is how much? 2.25. Now sigma has various formulas, that are standard deviation has various formulae. Now here summation x square is given to us. So let me use the result, that is what? Square root of, actually for individual series distribution the result for variance is what? 1 upon n summation xi square minus x bar, xi minus x bar square. This is the result. Now simplification of this one we get, this is summation xi square minus x bar square. The same result we are using here to find standard deviation. Standard deviation is what? The positive square root of this one. So here 1 upon n summation x square, xi square, so it is total one given to us, that's why I is not written here, minus what? X bar square. Now we have all these values, x bar with us, summation x square with us, and n is with us. So it is the positive square root of what? 1 by 20 into this is what? 118 minus x bar square means what? 2.25 square. 2.25 square. So it is the square root of this 118 upon 20 will be what? This is 5.9 minus this 2.25 square minus 2.25 square. This subtraction is nothing but 0.8375. And the positive square root of this one is 0.9151. This is what? The standard deviation. Now once we get the standard deviation and mean, we can easily obtain what? The coefficient of variation. Now therefore coefficient of variation is what? Sigma upon mod x bar multiplied by what? 100. So what is sigma? The value of sigma is what? 0.9151 upon x bar means this 2.25 multiplied by what? 100, and this simplification is 40.6733, and this is in percentage. So CV is this much percentage. This is the answer for this question. Now let us see the next question. If the coefficient of variation of a series is 75% and standard deviation is 15. Find arithmetic mean. This is our question here. Now what is given to us? Given things. Coefficient of variation means what? CV. CV is how much? 75%. Standard deviation, that is what? Sigma. Sigma is 15, and we have to find x bar, arithmetic mean. Now by definition of standard deviation, coefficient of variation, by definition we have a result CV is equal to what? Sigma upon x bar multiplied by 100. So therefore what we get, this is what? 75. This is 15 upon x bar multiplied by what? 100. So what we get, x bar is equal to 15 upon 75 multiplied by 100. So this simplification is what? 20. So we get x bar is nothing but 20. Here 15 ones are, 15 fives are, 5 ones are, and here this will be 20. Fine. As such, x bar will be 20. Now such a small examples may ask for 2 marks in your question 1. Now the next example is that calculate the coefficient of variation. Calculate the coefficient of variation for the following data. For the following data on age of 7 students. On age of 7 students in a batch. Age of 7 students means n is equal to what? 7. What are the data? Let me write the data first. 17, 18, 20, 17, 19, 21 and 20. These are the ages of them. Now solution, we have to determine what? The coefficient of variation here. So the number of observations are what? 7. N is equal to 7. Now n is 7, we have a data, so we can easily determine arithmetic mean. To determine coefficient of variation, we need to find what? Sigma and arithmetic mean. That is what? Sigma upon mod of x bar into 100. This one we have to find out. So first of all find out x bar. X bar is what? Summation xi upon n. What is xi's? Are these one. So 17 plus 18 plus 20 plus 17 plus 19 plus 21 plus 20 upon 7. So this is 132 upon 7. So it is what? 18.8571. Okay. Now let us find out sigma. What is sigma? It is the square root of summation xi square upon n minus x bar square. So summation xi square means what? The square sum of squares of these one. So 17 square is what? 289 plus 18 square is 324 plus 400 plus this is 289 plus this 19 square is how much? It will be 381 plus this is what? 441 plus 400 upon what? 7 minus this 18.8571 square. So now let me write this directly. This is nothing but this sum I have done. That sum will be 2504 upon 7 minus this is what? 18.8571 square. So this division and this subtraction, that will be 2504 upon 7 minus this is 355.5902. Up to 4 decimal places is this. Now this simplification is 1.4574. Therefore CV is what? Sigma upon mod of x bar multiplied by what? 100. So that is 1.4574 upon 18.8571 multiplied by what? 100. So this is 7.7286. This many percentage. So CV is what? 7.7286 is here. Next example is that for the following data, data set, find values of mean and variance. 7, 7, 7, 7, 7, 7 and 7. This is given to us. This is our data. Now all observations are same. Let us see what is mean and variance. So x bar is what? Summation xi upon n. So here this 7 is given how many times? 7 times. So n will be 7. And the sum of 7 times, so that will be what? 49. So we get x bar is what? 7. Now the question about what? Variance, or that is what? Sigma square. What does that? It is summation xi minus x bar square. This deviations square of what? Deviations. We will take arithmetic mean of square of deviation. So I from 1 to 7 upon what? N. This is our result here. So it will be, n will be what? 7, and this summation I from 1 to 7 xi, each xi is what? 7, and mean is what? 7, its square. So this is what? 1 upon 7 into what? 0. So that is what? 0. So as each xi is what? 7, that's why here we get xi is what? 7 for all I, and mean is also what? 7. Arithmetic mean is also 7. So the difference between them is what? 0. So variance is 0, and the variance is 0 means what? The standard deviation is also 0. But here in question we have to determine simply the mean and the variance. So the mean is 7, variance is 0. Now means if, what can we say, if the observations are same and the number of observations are equivalent to the value of observation, that time our variance will be 0, standard deviation is 0, and just because of that, what about CV? Look at for CV. CV is what? Sigma upon x bar. So into 100. If sigma is 0, so that will become 0. This is 0 upon 7 multiplied by 100. So that is also what? 0. That times CV also becomes 0. Now let me take one more example. The following data gives the number of finished articles turned out per day by different number of workers in a factory. Now what is the number of articles and number of workers? Number of workers is the frequency, number of articles are what? X's. Number of workers. So this is what? Which type of data? This is discrete frequency distribution. So number of articles are given 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26 and 27, and the corresponding frequencies are 3, 7, 11, 14, 18, 17, 13, 8, 5 and 4. Now the question is that find the mean find the mean, standard deviation and coefficient of variation of daily output of finished articles, daily output of finished articles. Okay, so let us do that. Discrete frequency distribution is this. So we need to prepare a table here. As the formula for x bar is what? The result for x bar is summation fi xi upon what? Summation fi is this. Fine. And similar thing for we need for the standard deviation and the coefficient of variation also. So number of articles, so that are what? Our, these are xi's, and the number of workers are what? F. So let me write here x, f, we need fx, and also we need fx square in standard deviation. So xi's are what? 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26 and 27. And the frequencies 3, 7, 11, 14, 18, 17, 13, 8, 5, 4. F into x, so it will be 54. This is 133. This is what? 220, 296, 396, 391. This one 312. This is 200. Fine. This one is 130 and this is 108. We need these sums. Summation f is what? 100. This is what? Capital N. The value of capital N is this. And summation fx. Summation fx is what? This is 2238. Now similarly obtain fx square. So fx into x we will do. So that is 972. This is 2527. This is 4400. Then 6174. 8712. 8993. 7488. This is 5000. 3380. 2916. So that sum is how much? 50,562. Now let us find out our required things one by one. What is mean? Mean is x bar. It is, so the result is summation fi xi upon summation fi. Summation fi is nothing but capital N. Summation fi xi is what is given to us, or we have found it. It is 2238 upon how much? 100. So what is mean? This ratio. This is what? 22.38. 38 will be 22.38. Now standard deviation. It is what? Sigma. So that is square root of summation fi xi square upon n minus x bar square. That is square root of, positive square root of this what? 50,562 upon capital N is how much? 100 minus this 22.38 square. Okay. So this will be, it is under root 4.7556 and that square root will be 2.1807. Now what is CV? CV is what? Sigma upon mod x bar into 100. The sigma is how much? This 2.1807 upon x bar is 22.38 multiplied by what? 100. So this answer is how much? 9.744 these many percentage. This is what? CV here. This is an example of discrete frequency distribution. So here we will stop for today. Next video we will see the example for continuous series, that is the grouped frequency distribution. Thank you.